Welcome to Seeing Scarlet. It is Shelby here with Tyler, and we are here. I'm in Baton Rouge. Tyler is wherever he is. We are celebrating the Lady Raiders' first victory in the NCAA tournament since 2005. Tyler, how old were you in 2005?
Like barely like one.
Okay, that's insane. All right, that's the last time the Lady Raiders won one. Krista Gerlich was an assistant coach on that team. The head coach of that team, Marcia Sharp, was at this game. She's traveled with the team in the back of the room during the press conference. I got to ask the team some questions about that. You can go watch the press conference. I'll have a story on it later. I just think it's really cool that she's traveling with the team and all the players and Coach Gerlich. Coach Gerlich got a little choked up a little bit when she was asked and talking about it too. I don't blame her. But they won 57-52 over Villanova in kind of the game I expected it to be. I don't know if I expected it to be quite this low scoring, but that's where we kind of want it to be. A very physical game. Both teams believe in their defense. I think Villanova doesn't get enough credit for their defense. Everyone talks about their offense, and I think they were out to prove a little something in this based on what their post-game comments were, but we obviously believe in our defense, and I thought our defense was great. I mean, that's definitely one of the top 5 offenses we faced all year. For sure. Just ball movement wise, they're up there with anybody we faced. It was beautiful to watch, but then at times it looked really bad, and that was because of us. Danae Fritz was Danae Fritz on Jasmine Basco. She ended up with 21, but I think 7 of those came in the fourth quarter. She had some ridiculously tough shots. We said that she was going to do that. She did that. That girl's a power forward player, and not just a power forward player. She's a starter, and by the time she's a senior, she's only a sophomore. She could be an all-conference player. Like if she moved up, I'm not saying she should. I'm saying she might. We'll see, but she is a great player. She's one of the best point guards you've played all year. I'd put her in the tier with Talia Scott, and honestly, I think she's better than Talia Scott. I'll say it right now. Up there
Mm.
with Olivia Miles. She's more efficient than Talia Scott usually, but you made her take a lot of shots. And then Danae Fritz offensively was great, start to finish. I'm sure we'll talk about her. I thought it was Danae Fritz's best game as Lady Raider, all things considered. One of her higher scoring games, great defensively, rebounds, blocks, aggressive from the jump when she needed to be early. Jalen Bristow made a 3 early. She didn't play a ton in this game. I don't even know, but she made a big 3 to get us going early. There was a 1 point at the beginning of the game, Tyler. I think the only people in the game that had scored were our former Iowa State Cyclones.
Yes.
Kelsey Jones had the game of her life, the first quarter of her life. 12 of their 14 first quarter points were Kelsey Jones, 4 threes. And then Danae had 5 points in the first quarter, and Jalen had 3 for Texas Tech. And I think Snowda had 5 or something early in the game as well. And then Bailey took over in the second half, as she does. So that was kind of my early thoughts. Obviously, I was around here, so I can give my in-person thoughts, but you have a lot of notes in here, and so I don't want to steal your thunder. But let's first show a clip from Gerlich from the post-game, just kind of her opening statement. If you want to watch these full press conferences, they're about 20 minutes long. They're on YouTube. We have clips floating around social media as well, but if you want to watch them all, Danae Fritz, Bailey Maupin, and Krista Gerlich spoke to the media after the game, and this was Krista's opening statement.
What a great game. Everything that we knew about Villanova was so true. They're such a good basketball team, so well coached, fighters till the end, really hard to defend, and we knew it was going to be a dogfight from the tip. Really proud of our kids for staying together, for stepping up and making really big plays when we needed them. I thought that the whole first half, it was just both teams trying to figure out what the other team was doing to them and how to fight through the physicality, how to fight through just people, the scout, of defending each other. And then I thought that in the second half, we got our footing under us a little bit in the fourth quarter, and the kids really stepped up to the challenge and had some really big plays. We hit some big shots. We got on the floor first after several loose balls and rebounded it well. So super proud of these kids, and first win in the NCAA tournament in 21 years for the Lady Raider basketball program.
Yeah, that's crazy. 21 years is wild. So the vibes were obviously very high after the game. You said that the TV interviewed Bailey as well. I haven't gotten to see that yet, but she and Danae were really happy in the postgame. There was a funny moment at the end I don't think was caught on the press conference, but Danae had answered a question about, I think it was when I asked them about Marcia Sharp, and she said something, yeah, it's really cool that she supports one of her old players like that. And then Gerlich on the way out said, you're calling me old? And Danae was like, no. And then Danae was like, I think they were calling me old because they were saying that it was like her 130th game or something. I guess the team put out a stat.
Yes, they did.
I was like, did y'all see that? Now I feel old. So it was funny at the end. Those are things I feel like you finally get to see their personality when they're leaving the the press tables, but they were definitely enjoying it. And then I just got to go back and forth. There's a lot of national media there. I think getting to know the team for the first time, so it's always cool. I've seen a lot of people writing stories, and I hope everybody is. I hope they get all the pub over the next 2 days, and then when they beat LSU, they're going to get so much more. But they should be soaking it in. First time in 21 years, Texas Tech back on a stage where they belong, and used to be one of 14 programs to ever win a national championship. There's only been 14. We're one of them, and just haven't been on the stage in a long time. So it's pretty cool from back. But take it away, Tyler. What were your thoughts? And then we have highlights, but we're just going to show the fourth quarter of them because even the fourth quarter is 3 minutes long of highlights. But what do you have from watching on TV? I'm sure you have a much different perspective than what we got. Probably more in depth.
Yeah, no, I definitely thought that defensively we looked great in this game. I mean, I was very impressed with the way that we handled Bosco and also the way that Kennedy Henry was forced into foul trouble. I thought that was huge because we said that she was going to be an X factor for Villanova, and she in fact got into 4 fouls. She ended up not scoring at all in this game, and I mean, yes, it left the door open for opportunity for like Kelsey Jones to go ahead and have the game of her life, so much so that the Carolyn Peck was calling her Ashley Jones at one point and then had to correct
I mean,
herself.
yeah, I
Yeah,
always have flashbacks myself. I'm not going to
I
lie.
know. I was like, oh no.
In the Jones DNA to hate Texas Tech that when they walk on the court, I must drop 20 points. Like I don't get it.
I don't get it either. But other than that, though, like defensively, yeah, I mean, you really can't have any complaints about the way we handled that. I mean, Villanova averages 71 points per game on offense, and we held them to 52, 19 below their average. And a lot of that is really credit to Danae Fritz and her defense locking up Bosco for the long time that she did. And that's kind of what we said. Like, as long as we're holding Bosco and limiting her opportunity, then it can go we can stretch it out and it can go a lot further for us. I also thought that something that was important was, yeah, we were also in foul trouble ourselves, which wasn't fun, but we also forced them into foul trouble. So there was at one point where all 4 star players on Texas Tech and Villanova were both having to battle the refs, it seemed like, the entire game. So it was definitely a ref show. It wasn't fun, but we were able to push through at least. And I think that was what was most important, especially when players like, Snudda, for example, like, was teetering on that foul trouble line, and we needed her to make a big shot late, and then she ended up drawing that foul to get those free throws in. Or, Danae ended up having 3 fouls, and then she was able to get that huge 3-pointer in the fourth quarter that really pushed things out of the way. And then when you have people like Bailey Maupin, for example, that were struggling in that first half to score, just to see Danae start off the game so strong, like we were all talking, like that was the Danae Fritz that we remember, Iowa State, like just drove to the basket right off the bat. I mean, it was absolutely insane to watch.
I have a quote from her on that. If you want me to insert it here, I asked her about that after the game, just if that was like a senior thing or if what that was from, and she said that that was the task that was given to her for this game because of the matchup that she had and just who was guarding her. So she knew. She said, "I knew I had that. I knew what my job was. My job was to get downhill." So she did it. That's Danae Fritz. She never takes anything. Always about what the plan was. But Bailey was next to her, and when it started talking, Bailey was like, yeah, like everybody knew what was happening. And what I'll say about her is after the game, I'm sure you've seen the video of her putting the thing on. They gave it to
Yes.
Bailey to give it, and everyone was like, Danae, Danae, Danae. And so Bailey, like, obviously gave it to Danae, and they made Danae go put it on there. So the whole team recognized her. I do think it was her best game in a Lady Raider uniform because of all things. And she was consistent. Like, sometimes Danae will score 10 points in the first quarter, and you don't see her again because she gets tired because she plays defense so hard. But it was like 5 points in the fourth quarter, 5 points in the first quarter. It was pretty evenly spaced out when she was out there. So they're going to need that, I guess, again on Sunday. But one of her best games, someone texted me in the middle of the game and said Danae Fritz for president. I think I posted the tweet with their consent on Twitter. That was about how everybody watching felt. And I love that this time of year. Yeah, there's some casual fans that this is the first time they've watched the Lady Raiders play because they're in the tournament. They do that for all sports. And so they're like, wow, that girl's really tough. And I'm like, yeah, well, you've missed out for 2 years now, but she got her shine for sure. But yeah, typical. She said it was in the game plan, though. And it wasn't just like she was trying to take over. Whoever was guarding her, I think it was Kelsey Jones, actually. They knew that they could take her. Perhaps some Iowa State scouting report. They knew that. Ironically, the other time you've seen her play that way was against old Sydney Harris from Iowa State. But anyway, moving on.
Oh gosh, yes, all the former teammates and things like that of it all. It's just
I
so
mean, I
funny
don't
that
think
we all
there, but yeah, she played with
I
Ashley.
yes, all that involvement. And then the only other thing that I thought just was a little bit I think was a little bit frustrating at times in the game was just our offense at times.
Yeah,
Obviously we had to run what we had to run with Jada Malone. I know I said that we don't need Jada Malone in this, but we sure enough did because we got into foul trouble with Sarah really early into the game and shout out to Jada. I mean, I have to give her all the credit. I mean, she played SEC women's basketball in that. I mean, she was diving for balls. She was going up and down the court. I mean, there were times where Jada Malone was all the way back there to try to stop a fast break first before any of our other maybe more athletic players. So I have to give her all her credit and all her flowers in that. When we were getting the ball into the post, it was working great. She finishes at a high rate, and that was awesome. But then there were other times where it seemed like Gerlich said, apparently Alyssa Lang interviewed her and said that the goal was like we need to get more post touches and it just seemed like we were too focused on getting so many touches into the paint that it became predictable in the third quarter. And I mean, even the announcers were playing it out. We would always go to the right and try to find Jada Malone. And Villanova was starting to zero in on that. But then whenever we were starting to space out the ball, like go more to the like either start dribbling to the left, dribbling to the right, kicking it out. When the minute we kicked it out, I think it was to Danae. As a matter of fact, once we kicked it out to Danae, when Malone kicked it out to her, oh, now all of a sudden we're now in a scoring rhythm. We now just took the lead. So it just seems like I don't know. I don't know if maybe the team just needed to work more on like, spacing it out more, working on, trying to kick it out because we said that that kick out could be dangerous because Villanova's not going to be ready for that. But there was just that one point where we just kept turning the ball over back and forth because we were trying to get it inside and we were just so stressed about that we were missing wide open opportunities at the 3-point line, mid-range jumpers that Snudda could have taken. So that part was frustrating. But again, I understand that we had to emphasize getting to the paint because we did have an advantage down there, and we did have Malone in there for that. But other
I
than that, though, it was. I
um,
mean, fourth quarter it was way better. Like we figured it out.
we'll talk. We'll just spend all the highlights about the fourth quarter, so we'll talk about that then. But the Jada of it, and again, I was sitting there, and so maybe the TV angle is different. It's interesting you brought up the going in the right thing.
Hmm.
All I'll say about that is I talked to off the record, so I'm not going to say which team. Somebody that scouts for a Big 12 teamer did last year about Texas Tech in the offseason. And they said, yeah, the one thing about Texas Tech last year is 90% of all of their offense started going to the right. And so I just had a flashback. I don't think I've heard that all year. So maybe we reverted to that. I'm sure if other teams know that, our team knows that too. But yeah, interesting. Maybe that's just what we revert to. I know Bailey Maupin likes the right side, so Bailey has it in her hands a lot, so that's part of it too. But anyway, interesting. I didn't pick that up watching in person, but I just saw hesitation, and because we don't play through the post a lot, and we are very guard oriented, and so I understood why we were trying to play through the paint because we had a size advantage. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, you do, but you got to get her the ball. And so our guards were like hesitating, and then Jada was getting frustrated because they weren't giving her the ball, and then she has to repost because 3 seconds in the lane, or if she doesn't, and so then she'd repost, and then the angle was bad, and they couldn't get it, and then they'd have to pass it, and Villanova was like standing there because they've been standing there, and they have a good defense. So I think it's just one of those things where we don't do it a lot, and when we were doing it within rhythm and we got it to her, they really couldn't guard her, and then they did play that 6'4" big more than they have been, and probably wanted to because they had to, but. Yeah, credit to Jada because I did for a while. I was like, man, this is really hurting our flow, and that probably is why we scored a little less than maybe we usually do. But Sarah was in foul trouble, Snudder was in foul trouble. Yeah, Jalen, I don't know. They just felt like maybe Jada made more sense, so she did it. But I give her. She was hustling. I mean, she dove on the floor for a ball, caused a couple of tie ups. She dove for that one, and I mean, she knew she was getting her legs taken out. She knew what was about to happen, and Kelsey Jones took her legs out, and they called a foul on her. But it was a hard fall, and that won us possession late. Everybody was getting on the floor first. I think Gerlich said that after the game. She's like, it's always the message, but this game we had to be first to the floor, and I thought we were. But yeah, credit to Jada in that way because it's not easy, and she really shouldn't have to be that person. But she was like, all right, if no one else is gonna get down there and get it, I'll go get it. And so yeah, I wanted to talk to her after the game, and I'm hoping we get to talk to her in the media availability they have on Thursday. But I was doing that story on Sharp, and I only had 2 minutes once we got to the locker room, so I had to go talk to Adley and Jalen. But I'm hoping maybe they make Jada available because I really want to talk to her after this game. And then she has that SEC experience. She's played on that court before. She's played against LSU before. Her and Snowda both. So I think that experience, just to be like, they're humans. We'll talk more about LSU in a minute. They're just a basketball team. Like, it's not like we don't need to get too caught up in what they're doing. So yeah, Jada was great for sure. So kudos to her. She did her damn thing. And Gerlich went on a long thing about that in the press conference about how this was a team win and it has been all year. She was talked about how we don't have any All-Americans. That's not what this team's about. It's about grit. It's about really good basketball players, but we don't have All-Americans. You have to do it together. And I think Jada stepping up like she did tonight. Even Sydney, I don't know what she finished line-wise, but she had some big buckets. She had at least 2 buckets, right?
I think just
Maybe I'm making this up in my head.
free throws.
2. Oh, that's right. She got to the line. She got fouled on that one early in the game. Everybody kind of stepped up. Hema had a couple. I know she missed a layup she was frustrated about. But, I mean, Hema, I don't know why they called it travel, but she skied above everybody to get that one rebound and had her legs taken out from under, and they called her travel. But everybody had a good moment. I don't think anyone played poorly in this. Even Sarah struggled with fouls. Massive. I think it was in the fourth quarter. Massive defensive possession on Bosco and the rebound. Key on rebounding. Because we really won the rebounding battle for 3 quarters and then got mauled in the fourth quarter on the boards again because they were down and they had to. When teams are down and they need to crash, they are going against, and they did against us again and almost got us, but we were able to close it out anyway because of big moments and big plays. So I don't think anyone played poorly. Some people starred, and Bailey fought through. I think Bailey scored 15 or 17 in the second half. So there's that. But yeah, that's the other thing. We talked to Bailey afterwards, and me just watching it, I thought the moment that maybe locked her into the game perhaps was when she took that charge. And so I asked her afterwards, and Gerlich was like nodding her head. And then Bailey said, yeah, like we're a defensive team. So that's like a huge moment to kind of get them into the game, going into the locker room momentum wise. So I don't know. Sometimes I think Bailey just needs to get hit a couple of times to like lock her into the game, and then she's good to go. But the thing you don't have to worry about Bailey is she's never afraid to take the shot. You knew she was going to keep shooting, and they had I think she's an all-conference defender on her. Wasn't Henry guarding her? That's also why she got in foul trouble, is she was like mauling Bailey for much of that game and disrupting her. And then Bailey kind of wore it down in the end, the senior over the freshman. So the Nate Fritz was steady throughout. Snowda started out pretty good. She didn't hit another shot until late in the game, but they did give us a lead when she hit at that. And then Bailey took over at the end. So it reminded me a lot of early season Texas Tech, especially when it came to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I agree. It was good to see that fourth quarter Texas Tech come back, especially today when it's do or die. So I was really happy to see that happen, especially with Bailey getting back in her groove.
Yeah, it was good. You wanted them to get back to who they are. And mostly because, and we'll just play these in the background. I think there's no sound. But mostly because they used to be so good in the fourth quarter. Like that's the thing we've talked about before. It made no sense. Like this whole fourth quarter, the issues that they've had. Sorry, the issues that they've had in the fourth quarter haven't really made sense to me because it just happened. Like it wasn't something that was a whole season thing, and they just looked like themselves. They took over, started off the fourth quarter well. We go on a 6-0 run to start it. Jada again. They're gonna have to call a timeout here soon. After whoever's making a big bucket right here, probably Bailey. She just started getting to the lane. They started having communication issues, is what their coach said. I asked. Hold on. Jesus, I'm sleep deprived. I asked Gerlich after the game what was said in that timeout right there, because a big talking point by Bailey 2 days ago or whatever was like, hey, it's not the whole fourth quarter that we struggled. It's like the last 6 or 7 minutes of the fourth quarters we've been starting them well, which is true, and then we struggle. Well, they started this one well. 6-0 run. Villanova smartly calls a timeout at the 6.5 minute mark. Let's see if we can get in Texas Tech's head / get ourselves right. So then Texas Tech's over there having to think about that. Maybe like we've done this before, now we can't have it happen again. And so I asked her like what the message was in the huddle, and she said, by the way, we were up by 5 at that point, 6 or 5. And that was the first 2 possession lead we had all game. It had been that great of a game, which we told y'all it was going to. Villanova's a good team. But she said, yeah, once you get separation, you have to continue to get stops. Thought we hit really good shots. I thought we had kids that did that. I thought we had a couple of kids try to make some big shots, but at least made big free throws. And that's what you have to do when you're protecting a lead, is what she said after the game. Bailey talked about it too and just said, like, kind of like, we know we're good in the fourth quarter. We just had to get back to doing what we do. And they closed it out. So here's the rest of the highlights. But it was cool to see it. The way that they won, I think, was important for the team to get that monkey, if you want to call it. Just get back to being them.
Right.
I think it's just frustrating when you know that it's one thing to struggle with something that you're just not good at, you know? Like, it's like, it is what it is. Like, turnovers is like always a thing for us. But it's always been a thing, so I can't really get mad at it. But the fourth quarter thing has been maddening because they were so damn good at it, and it's what won them games against really good teams. And Villanova's a very good team, and you had to go back to that. So, and then it was cool because Villanova makes a run, and there were some breaks that go against you in this. There's a couple of fouls that are questionable. Bailey's step back three.
Love that.
Dog.
Love that.
Look at that. Oh, Bailey's just a killer. Smooth. I wanted to ask her after that game, but again, there's lots of national media here, which is good for the team, so we don't get to talk to her much. Another good defensive play. I mean, these are just, we said Bosco was going to make great shots, and she made some stupid ones in the fourth quarter.
Oh my gosh.
She makes a three right here. That's just a really good play. Some people are like, how do you leave her wide open? That's just write it down, steal it, run it on Sunday against LSU. Really well drawn up play there to get Danae free. I mean, maybe Jalen should have read that and helped, because I don't really know who Jalen was guarding there, but she might have had a different assignment. That's the only way you stop that, is if Jalen goes in with Jasmine, because Danae was getting screened. On that play, we'll go back. So to set this up, is you felt like Texas Tech had this in the bag as long as they made free throws, right? But we were out of timeouts. We had to throw in the ball. And then we get the ball in. You watched it on TV. I thought it was a bit of a flop live, but they called an offensive foul on Bailey. Was it a flop?
It was 100% a flop. 100%. Yeah.
Okay. We're on your side. Always Bailey, of course. But I didn't get to see the replay because they didn't really show it. But we'll go back to them running this play, though, because they had just drawn up that beautiful play. And then you're like, oh, great. One of the best three-point shooting teams in the country. Now we're going to get it. But this, they don't show the whole thing. That's weird. But anyway, Danae plays great defense on Bosco. Doesn't even let her get the ball. Doesn't let one of the best scorers in the nation even touch it on the possession that matters. They have to get their big to shoot a three. And then we track down the rebound, which again, they had 9 of their 12 offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter. But we got the one that mattered to get it done. And then to watch them celebrate. I haven't seen this yet, but live it seemed like they were hype. I was sprinting over to the tunnel so I could get the bracket celebration. Oh, that's it. Thank you, Clipto, for your service. There's 10-minute highlights. We're not going to watch the whole thing. I'll probably go watch them later on YouTube. We just showed you the fourth quarter. But yeah, I just think it's really fitting when you fix an issue, right? And one that they've been talking about. And I think Gerlich said we're always pretty transparent with them, which is the truth. They're seniors, but it isn't something they were talking about publicly. It just felt like maybe we were trying to skirt around the fact that we're not good in the fourth quarter for a few games and hope that it just fixed itself. They've been bringing it up themselves this week, which is what I talked with somebody about it, or maybe it was on our show. I talked to too many people, but I don't remember where, but I was like, I think I feel pretty good about our fourth quarter going into this game because they're talking about it. If that makes sense. They're acknowledging it. And so it wasn't like they're trying to pretend like it's not happening anymore. Not saying they were, but publicly they were bringing it up. And I was like, okay, we're fine because this team is good at basketball. We've said that before, and they just went and hooped, and that's all they have to do. So maybe that'll come in handy on Sunday.
Hopefully.
Maybe they'll win the fourth quarter. LSU's not used to being in close games. I don't know. Maybe we'll get them there and we'll get it done. But I could talk about this forever. Just a really historic moment. Really cool to see them do it. Vibes are as high as you would expect. But they also weren't like, again, I had to go in the locker room afterwards and they were pretty like ready to move on to the next day. A lot of them. So like, I think they're pretty focused. And Bailey said the other day, she's ready to win 6 games and play in the national championship. And I know some people were like clowning and joking about that on Twitter. And I'm like, no, Bailey Maupin means like every word that she just said. Like you'd go tell any of these players that they can't beat LSU and you're going to get like a door slammed in your face. Like they all believe that they're going to do it. Whoever's in front of them, they can compete with them. So I guess we can flip into the LSU game. If you have any other final thoughts, go for it. But again, go watch all the press conferences. We'll have a bunch of stories out. They might already be out. And this is a story all over the place. You don't need us anymore. You have Sing Scarlet, but there's a lot of national stories being written about them. You can go find all over the place.
Yeah, it was really cool. I think there was
we have an audience
yeah.
today. Sorry.
I think the one of the women's sports accounts, I think it's that Together brand or whatever that's run by like, all those
Yeah.
pro
Oh, I heard.
athletes. They even posted Texas Tech gets their first tournament win since 2005 and all the things. So it's been super cool to just see this team finally get the national media relevance. Like they were
Yep.
talking, oh yeah, this team started off 19-0, but like, you know, only very few people knew that, at the beginning of the year. So now that everyone's tuned in, they're like, oh wow, like this Texas Tech team, they are a sleeper. Maybe they shouldn't have even been a 7 seed. They should be higher, but we digress and we move on.
Yeah, they probably should have. If our brand was Baylor, I think we would be in Durham right now, but it's fine. That's part of what this team has done, not to be sappy about it, is this team is putting Texas Tech back on the map. So the next year's team doesn't get underseeded when they perform at the level they do, because people are like, oh, Texas Tech, they play basketball,
Yeah.
And just the whole thing's really cool. Like I was saying, that's kind of what it's about. They're trying to gain respect and get it back on the national stage. They've done that. This team has now won a game. It would have been one thing just to get to the tournament. I think that would have been made a lot of people happy at the beginning of the year. If you told people before the year Texas Tech's going to make the tournament, they would be like, who cares if we win or lose? But I think they had such a good season that a lot of people are like, no, they need to win their first round game. And they went and did that. Now it's the first win. So they've gotten a lot of first out of the way. And next year's team won't have to check those boxes off. Like, it won't be a thing that they're chasing. They're just going to be trying to play good basketball and keep the standard going, which I think is important. We've talked so many times on the show how hard it is to break down the wall. The wall is gone. Like, this team knocked it down, and they opened up the hole even bigger tonight. So now you can talk about gaining national respect. You're going to be on ABC, the national game, and for the women's tournament, for those that maybe are unfamiliar, that is the channel. That's the biggest channel you can be on for the women's tournament. It's like being put on CBS for the men's one, because on the women you get it on ESPN or ESPN2, or tonight we're on ESPNU. And your ABC broadcast 2 p.m. on Sunday, that's like prime time. That's going to have like over 1 million viewers on it for sure. So that's pretty cool for our players to get to be on that stage, and especially for all the seniors. And you'll about to learn the name Bailey Maupin and Danae Fritz and Snutta Collins and everybody else that might get into that game. But they're going to be playing an LSU team who is a 2 seed, has national championship hopes, has a national championship banner hanging in that arena not too long ago in 2023. Kim Mulkey, we're familiar with her as Texas Tech fans, obviously have had some wins against her, have had some tough losses against her. Gerlich told some really good stories. Y'all should go watch that press conference from a couple of days ago about the first time she met Kim Mulkey. I won't get into that here because we got things to cover, but they have a pretty good relationship, it sounds like, and she's given her some good advice over the years. So anyway, I think they're 24-point favorites on ESPN. Torvik's a little nicer. They really like that we beat Villanova. I think it's an 18 or a 19-point spread on there. I watched them in person, gained an even more appreciation for them. But what is your scouting report on LSU? How are we going to get this dub? Make it a game, Tyler.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. LSU definitely is one of the best teams in the country, top 5 team. Some would argue they're up there with the top 4 seeds. Some would argue maybe there's a little bit of gap, then it's LSU. But other than that, LSU is one of its own right now, right? They really are led by a young team. They do have some seniors that are carrying them, like Flage Johnson, the 5'10" guard. Everybody knows who Flage Johnson is. She's done pretty much everything for this program. She was the first McDonald's All-American that signed with Kim Mulkey whenever she went over to LSU. Been there all 4 years. So, I mean, there's a lot of emotion going into this Sunday. It's going to be her last game at the PMAC, so you would hope that maybe that emotion, like if we get it close enough, maybe it's going to start to like get in her head, and she's like, oh shoot, like I have to perform well for my people. I don't know. I'm just putting this out there, but she's really really good. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Whatever works, right? But yeah, she's averaging 14 points a game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, like 1 steal. She's a 40% 3-point shooter. I mean, she's an absolute baller. The only thing she really can't do is just shoot free throws, which it's actually gotten her in some really bad situations this week where they should have some wins instead of losses. But other than that, Flage is going to be great. She's really quick. She loves to drive to the basket. She can shoot pretty much anywhere she wants, and it's going to likely go in. I mean, an incredible athlete, really.
Yeah, Flage is fun. She has a great first step. She has a great little shimmy move that she was cooking Jacksonville with. I don't know who will guard her. There's just a lot of options. Obviously, Danae will end up on her. I think they'll have some fun battles for sure, and she'll give her fits at times. But she's a hooper, absolutely. It's the best season of her career, I think, from three. Maybe we'll get earlier career Flage from three. I don't know if she hit a three tonight. She was mostly, and she likes that little short corner mid range jumper a lot. Because Jackson was she was able to beat the outside, but then they were sagging back against her, against everybody. I will say that Jacksonville coach is really smart, and her team would, because they're kind of like us, where they're very athletic and long, and they want to get after people. But that coach was like, the game started on like a 12-0 run or something, and they were really trying to get push out on defense. They weren't pressing necessarily, but they were pushing out towards half court. And as the game went on, she was like having to yell at her players and say, "Get back, get behind the 3-point line. We're not gonna push out on them because then they're just playing one-on-one. They want to spread you out and play one-on-one defense." And Flage was like, and Malaysia and all of them were like having fun out there. And when Jacksonville started closing the gap a little bit in the second quarter, they started backing up a little bit and can actually run offense. At least make them work a little bit. But yeah, Flage, if she gets in a one-on-one situation with you in close quarter, she doesn't need much space to get that jumper off. She's fun to watch in person, on TV, very athletic. I'm hoping our length maybe gives her some trouble. Mississippi State did cause them a little bit of fits with their length, and Jaden's going to be big in this game, I think. I hope.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, there is something to be said about our length. And there have been teams that have been able to hang with LSU with that. But it's just like, they just have so many scoring options. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 6 players, 10 players, like 11 players, literally, that are all creeping up within like that, 8 or 9 point range. And they're just super athletic. Michaela Williams is a 6-foot guard, averaging 14 points a game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 42.7% from 3-point. She's been great all 3 years she's been playing there. Zakiya Johnson, she's also another really good guard. 10 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist. Jada Richard, a 5'7" guard. She's up there. She's hooping as well. She's getting a lot of steals, assists, points.
They scored like 20 points. Who didn't have a good game?
Yeah. Everybody today was doing great. And then you look at their bench, and that's what's really fun and interesting, because we're gonna have 2 of the conference and their respective conferences 6 Women's of the Year. But you got Malaysia Full-Wiley, the transfer from South Carolina, 5'10" guard, averaging 15 points per game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 32% from the 3-point line. She's everything you want in a player. And to get her to go to LSU, insanity. She's so good.
Yeah, she is so fun to watch. And I feel like she gets a bad rap for like trying to be, I don't know, like play outside the system or something, but I didn't see that at all. Like, I've never seen that when I've watched them, really. She has to have fun and do some crazy stuff, and you can see her getting coached a few times during the game, but she's just smooth, just exciting player. All of them are. There was a couple of fun Sports Center type plays. One thing I will say that's interesting is, I don't know if she has been starting or not, but they started their 6'5" big in this game, and I think it was not expected because they hand out expected starters sheets to the media, and Koval was not an expected starter, and then she started. I was like, Kim Mulkey's already up to her tricks. So I don't know if she'll play her against us, but that might have just been against Jacksonville because their best player is the former 5-star, and Priscilla Williams, who unfortunately, still don't know what happened. I didn't see it happen, but she only played 8 minutes in this game, and she was in a pretty dramatic looking sling and like cast, like full arm cast by the end of that game. So that's tragic. Or maybe Jacksonville would have hung around a little better, but they were like triple teaming her because she's their whole team. And maybe that's when they started Koval. I don't know. In the SEC, some games she just wasn't playing much, but she could be a matchup issue for us. We don't have anybody of that size but we've done well against the TCU types. Otherwise, if they didn't have her, I would say the advantage we have could be size and length, right? Because their guards are 6 foot or below. Like you have Jalen, it's at 6'3". Jada, after tonight, I think she's gonna go and fight. Sarah's 6'4", so technically, I don't know. Maybe that'll help us. I just know you've played common opponents, which maybe people don't realize, or at least enough common opponents, which at this point in the year in March, you don't always have that benefit. And so I'm hoping that maybe helps them. And at least Mississippi State kept it into like the fourth quarter of that game. And I watched a little bit of that. It was a while ago or a few weeks ago. But the big part of it was that Madison, this girl who we played, who's going to be an All-American before she graduates, only a freshman, and was one of the leading shot blockers in the country. But she gets in foul trouble really easily. And in the LSU game, she did not. She played on 38 to 40 minutes, had 4 blocks, 4 steals. Like, LSU's going to get to the rim against you. They are. They're one of the best teams in the country. I think they lead the country in points in the paint and lead the country, or at least lead the teams that are in the tournament in transition points. A lot of those points in the paint come in transition. And if that can maybe deter them at the rim a little bit, like Mississippi State was, I think a big part of that is just don't turn the ball over, which I get has been a thing for us, and we're going to have to really protect it against LSU. And Gerlich didn't talk a lot about LSU in her post game. In this one, we'll get more of that. We're recording before that happens, so we'll have a preview story out with her thoughts more, and it'll be on YouTube, the press conference, but that'll probably be a big talking point. And she said, we were a really good defensive team, but it's hard to defend turnovers. And she said we had too many tonight, and that will definitely be a key. So I'm sure that'll be a talking point. And it's not just like they will press you. They need to. They did it for fun. I think against Jacksonville, they didn't need to, but they broke it out every once in a while. And they're long, they're athletic, they're quick. They don't get enough credit for their defense. Everyone wants to talk about the flashy play. They're a great defensive team just because of their athleticism. But also just in the half court, Hema did all of our guards. You're going to dribble it lazy against them, it's out of your hand before you look up and they're on the other end. We do that to people, but they do it as well. So they're going to take a lot of chances. They might foul you. We'll see what the refs are. They let them play against Jacksonville for the most part, but it's going to be physical. If you can find a way to not let it turn into a track meet, I said that the other day, I'm still kind of there with that. I'm sure we're going to press. I'm sure we're going to try it. I mean, Gerlich talked about how every time we tried to do something that we're not, it has not turned out well for us this year, and she's not wrong. So that leads me to believe they're going to go out there and try to press. I wouldn't be shocked if we see a little 1-3 run, one zone. They can shoot threes, but Jacksonville kind of threw that out there in that second quarter a little bit, and it caused a little bit of fits just because it slowed them down. And you pack the lane a little bit and make them run some offense, get on those crazy runs. LSU feeds off energy. They feed off that crowd. And if they're going to have to take a little bit longer to score, the energy just doesn't get as high just naturally. So I think that's my key is I don't slow them down if it's possible. Keep it at your pace. What is their pace? It's got to be higher than ours. We like to play around
75, 70. And we're at a 68 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think ideally our best basketball is usually played around 70. So if you could play the game around a pace of 70, meaning there's 70 possessions either way for each team, I think that gives you the chance to win. That brings them down. Our defense is good. We will cause them problems at times. They will get good buckets. We will be able to find good shots against them. Jacksonville was, especially at the top of the key a lot. If we can make that free throw line jumper, a few in the short corner. If Koval's not in there, they don't really have like a rim protector. Now all of their guards will send your shot into the stands. We don't do this a lot, but I would fall in love with the pump fake a few times against LSU. I said this, I've said it before, this is not a this year thing, probably you can't learn this in a day, but if Jalen Bristow ever learns what a jump stop and a pump fake is, that's when she's going to become an All-American. If we could somehow get to flip a switch before Sunday, but all of our players, because LSU really wants to make the highlight play sometimes, on defense, and if you could just pump fake them and maybe get them in foul trouble trying to block your shot into next year, maybe that'll work, is to play the highlight reel against them. But they're fundamental. They're going to pass the ball well. Think about them as, I mean, you go into a game against Villanova, you're like precision and passing, and they're so well coached, and da da da. And then you go into LSU, and a lot of people get caught up in the flashy, and they're there, but they're very well coached, and they're very disciplined, and they run really good offense. So it's the same thing. It's just really good athletes. You can play with them for sure, but I don't think you can win a track meet with LSU. You got to muck it up a little, and find a way to win that way. You're going to have to hit shots. You're going to have to score more than 50 points for sure. Well, I'll say this. If the game's being played in the 50s, we're winning that game. I will say that. For sure. But I feel like if we're going to win, we probably need to score at least 70.
I agree with that too. Yeah, I would think so too.
So, yeah, I don't have any deep analytic thoughts on LSU. They're good at every phase of the game, really. I'm very confident that our coaches will have a really good game plan. It's just going to take all-out team defense every possession. There's no such thing as a 50-50 ball. It's like 100% free balls. They did that a good job against Villanova. I'd say most of the free balls, we won them in this. That one, you're going to need to win all of them against LSU. You're the ultimate underdog. This team loves to be the underdog. Capital W. That's been our theme since the spring. Me and Tyler, dogs over divas. That's what we were preaching in the portal, and they went out and got a lot of dogs to pair with the dogs that they have. And that moment, the reason they did that's already happened. They've already done that. They've gotten the tournament. They won this game. You need a bunch of dogs to go into Baton Rouge and beat LSU on their home floor in Florida Johnson's last game. The place is going to be packed. It's going to be loud. It's going to be fun. ABC, the nation is watching. Like, nothing to lose. Literally, this team has done their job. Celebrate them. A bunch of them about to graduate. Like, this should just be go out there and hoop and see what happens. And I've seen a lot of things in sports that are pretty ridiculous. So why not? You need to start well, though. Hang around and see if you can frustrate them. I think if you can do it, whatever Mississippi State did to them, and you're a similar team to Mississippi State, we saw each other play each other, scrappy team. If you can do that in the NCAA tournament on their home floor, maybe they'll falter at the end instead of figuring it out because they're going to be so pissed off that they're in a game with little old Texas Tech. Because I'm not saying they're disrespecting Tech or Villanova, but get the vibe from their media talking to them and even some of the things that have been said in their press conferences that they think they got a pretty easy draw. So whether it was going to be Villanova or Texas Tech, they respected both teams, but I think they're kind of already looking ahead to what's next. Maybe they have that right. They are 24-point favorites. So go beat the spread. See what happens.
Yeah, I think I think it's just a good opportunity for us to see, how well this team can compete with the best of the best. And I think that ultimately at the end of the day, like kind of like what Bree said in her former episode, like this is where you put on your big girl pants and you're playing SEC women's basketball. I mean, that's what you're going to have to do. I mean, no shade to the Big 12, but I mean, there's not teams of this caliber in our conference. Maybe TCU, but like LSU's on a whole other step level ahead. Yeah, physicality wise, like, it's not, depending on the refs, I mean, it's going to be a lot more physical. I think they're going to let LSU get some elbows in. Like, you have to match their intensity level in their game with that. You're not going to get, all these crazy flop calls or like barely get touched potentially. Like, they're going to let you play.
I think if they let us play, that's good for us.
No, I think it's good for us too, for sure. Because I mean,
I don't want to get in a finesse battle with LSU. I don't think we can out finesse LSU, but we have so many dogs. Like, they're gonna let us out tough them. It'll be a fist fight because they're tough, but like I feel like we have a better chance of out toughing them than we do out finessing them. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it'll be good for us to kind of see, with that intensity level and just to kind of leave it all out there. I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, my little pep talk's gonna be like, yeah, they're scary, but you can't be scared. This is the best opponent that you've played all year, but we're not gonna say die. You have beaten talent, WNBA talent, and even SEC talent like Olivia Miles, Talia Scott, Marta Suarez, Clara Silva. I mean, Clara Silva's taller than everybody on LSU's team, and we were still able to control her. So, I mean, you can compete with them. Mississippi State and Ole Miss competed with them. They're beatable. Look at Kentucky. I mean, the emotions with Flage's last game are clearly there. They have lost at the PMAC before in the second round. They lost to Ohio State in 2022. The pressure's all on them. You just have to play your own basketball. LSU does not have the nation's leading bench scorer. We have the nation's leading bench scorer. I did confirm that today.
You see,
And they are all about flash and attention. We're all about that blue collar work ethic and humbleness. So why not us? We talk about legacy on lock. This is where you absolutely cement it, is beating something like LSU. It doesn't even matter. Like, if you beat LSU, it doesn't even matter if you lose in the Sweet 16. Like, your name's forever in the record books. I mean, you ended the greatest dynasty that Kim Mulkey had at LSU. I mean, it's all there in front of them. I think a lot of this is mental. I mean, I think honestly, like, don't, like, even when LSU is on like a crazy run, like maybe they're on a 10-0 run or a 7-0 run, I think it's all mental, because if you let them get so out of hand and whatever, like, then yeah, that game can get to a 24.5 point spread. But if you can hang with that 10 points the entire game and you just keep being like, all right, on to the next thing, let's keep pushing, then I think you can actually do some great things, because clearly we've seen teams hang with them, right? It's not impossible. They're not like big bag UConn
they're
by
not
any means.
superheroes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Gerlich kind of talked about that at some point, and I know Bree talked about that they have the flash, and you just can't get caught up in that. And that's it. They're just basketball players. I don't really worry about that with our team. I could be wrong. Again, we don't know them, but just their vibe. Like, I don't think anyone gets caught up in I don't think they give a shit. Like, I don't think the name Fritz gives a shit who Flau'jae Johnson is. I don't think Bailey Maupin, not in a disrespectful way. You know what I mean? I don't think they're like asking her for her autograph before the game. I don't think these people are wanting to take pictures with the LSU team. I don't think they're in awe of the stage. Like, we were at practice, they weren't like looking around like, oh my god, there's Shaq. There's what they're practicing. In fact, I think they were mildly annoyed that the media was in their practice because they just wanted to practice. Erica's in the background. She's shaking her head, yes. Like, that's what it felt like. And I was like, I love this team for that. Like, they're not young. They're experienced, and some of them have been on the stage. So I don't really worry about that. I'm not saying it's not going to get out of hand. I hope it doesn't. But I don't think it'll be because we're in awe of LSU or whatever. Like, we have two players that have played against LSU, at least in Snoda and Jada. Maybe some others have as well at their past offs. I don't know if Iowa State ever played them, but yeah, I hope I'm not wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't think they give a shit about the fanfare. Like, literally, none of them are. You've seen people like go take pictures with Caitlin Clark when she was playing. Like, Flau'jae went and took a picture with freaking Clayton Clark. That was the whole thing. I don't think anyone on our team's like going up to Flau'jae and be like, "Can I take a picture with you?" Not that there would be anything wrong with that, I guess, but I just don't think that's our team's like mindset. They're not like enamored with the moment of it. They're enjoying it, but it's the march of it. Playing LSU is just fun. Why would you not want the opportunity to do that? You know what I mean? That's what they've been working for. Yeah, we wish it would have came around later. You probably should have been seeded better, and you shouldn't be playing a team of this caliber until the second weekend. So be it. You're going to have to play them eventually. Win it. Shock the world. I know we're talking like they're crazy. Texas Tech can absolutely win this game. And it would not be, like, the world would not stop if Texas Tech beat LSU. It would be the biggest upset in women's college basketball this year, but it would not be the biggest upset all time. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it would be a massive upset because this is a national championship contender. But they could do it. But everybody has to show up on both ends. You're going to have to score at least 75 points. If you keep the game in the 70s, Texas Tech wins like 78, 77. The game's in the 70s or something like that. Texas Tech can win that game. I don't think Texas Tech's going to win if it's a 100-90 game. Like, we haven't scored that many except like once or twice all year. Like, this has to be below 80. If they can keep that pace in the 71, 70 range, not 75 or above, you're not turning it over 20 times to give them easy baskets. You're making LSU work for every possession. They're going to make crazy shots. They're going to make you look silly at times. They're good at basketball, just like you are. Like Tyler said, as long as we don't get caught up in the runs, we stop them with a big bucket here or there, keep it within range. I don't know. I just don't worry. And maybe I don't know if y'all agree with this watching on TV, but no one on our team looked like they were like lost in the moment or whatever. I think both teams had a few jitters early. Like maybe Bailey needed to take that charge to get locked in or whatever. But I didn't see a team that looked like they were scared to be there even tonight. And now that they have their feet wet, have their first March moment for some of them, go to town. So I don't think they're going to lose because they're caught up in the aura that is LSU. They could be playing anybody. They lose the game, it's because LSU is really damn good at basketball. And I think you can be proud of that. You walk off the court, you go in the press conference, you're like, they were good at basketball. I hope they walk in the press conference like we were better at basketball today. It's possible. But I don't think it's going to be something like that. So I'm excited to watch them. I think it's fun at this point. It's cool. They're on ABC. Because even Jacksonville if Jacksonville didn't get caught up on those runs, the score wouldn't have gotten that bad. They started on like a 15-0 run or something stupid. Like you can't let that kind of stuff happen. And then you like stay within range and see what happens. So it's not that deep. They're very good. They're a little bit of a combination of Baylor, Oklahoma State's, a little TCU as far as like high end talent wise, way more athletic than TCU. Like if you combine Oklahoma State with TCU's offensive skill overall with Olivia Miles and all of that, and maybe a little Baylor's defensive mindset. It's like those three teams combined into one, and you face that. Maybe a little bit of West Virginia, but they're kind of their own thing. But those three, where you play in that top end talent, there's not. Yeah, someone asked me that today on Twitter, and I was like, I don't think there is a Big 12 comp. What I gave them was Baylor if Baylor had a second scorer, like a second and a third and fourth scorer besides Talia Scott, just because of the length and athleticism. But so I mean, Mississippi State, they're Mississippi State if Mississippi State could shoot.
Basically. Simple.
You're not going to find a comp. Just like you can't comp for UConn. Like you don't comp for best teams in the country. So go win, go play basketball and see what happens.
Yeah. And like ultimately, if it turns into like, a situation like kind of like how we were talking about the other day, like Villanova was runner up in their conference and even they played their best basketball and they would get like game 100 scores on Torvik and they would still lose by like double digits by UConn. Like that's like as long as you're playing your best basketball, like that's not a way. You don't want to go out with like a horrible like 30-0 run and then like you didn't score and like it was just absolutely embarrassing. Like you don't want to get embarrassed, but I mean, if you can put up one hell of a fight against the number 2 team in the country and make them get a little scared and or whatnot, I mean, go have at it. And I mean, if you want to go ahead and just get the win, I mean, that would be even more awesome. But I think that's the thing. Just compete. Don't just let it, barrel or snowball into this horrible thing. Like, yeah, you're going to face adversity in this game 100%. But as long as you just compete, I mean, I think that everyone would definitely be super proud of that. We're already proud of them, but I mean, competing with the number 2 team in the country, that's really impressive. Anything that fuels fire for next year.
Yeah, I think they want to be proud of themselves, right? This could be a lot of them. If they lose, it is a lot of them's last basketball game. 9 of them in college, if any of them go on. But yeah, go play your basketball. Play the best possible basketball game that Texas Tech can play. And if you lose, there's no shame in that. Nobody in the country thinks that Texas Tech should be as good as LSU. They don't. They have multiple All-Americans on their team. Multiple. We have none. Like they have WNBA draft picks. I mean, hopefully we have one. And Snodo, we'll see. Bailey getting picked in. They have all these 5-stars. I mean, they have 5-stars sitting on the bench that don't even play much that would be starting on our team if we're being honest. And that's just true. We have a bunch of underdogs that weren't supposed to be here. We've talked about that before. A group of players that came from different places, different countries, and they've joined to do this historic thing at Texas Tech. Like nobody thinks that they should beat LSU. No one's gonna be like, oh God, what a failure of a season. I lost to LSU. Go play basketball. And if you play your best game and LSU doesn't play their best game, maybe you win. But yeah, I agree. So I'm just excited to watch them. Like, I think this is cool. Like, this is what you work for. You want to go out on ABC, getting a shot at one of the top teams, like at some of the top players. Like, you don't want to play some team that no one's going to be watching. You know what I mean? Just because it would get you around farther. They want to win and win or play against the best, and this is why you're here. I'm sure they're excited. So we'll talk more to them. I have no idea who we're talking to, but I think there's players tomorrow, today. So we're recording this, so I won't sleep. We'll talk to them. That'll be on YouTube and all the places. We'll hear from them. Y'all know how those pre-games go. It's a lot of coach speak. You don't get a lot, but we'll hear what they have to say, and we'll go from there. But y'all watch them on Sunday at 2 p.m. Be tuned in. I think the men don't play until later that night. We've swept around. Oh my God. Swept around? Is that even a word? I can speak. It's like almost 4 a.m. as we're recording this. Swapped around is the word I'm looking for. The timeline's there, so you can watch both and see where it takes them. If they win this game, I'm going to be losing my mind. Absolutely going batshit crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be so hype when they win. It's gonna be so hype.
I'm absurd.
Best thing ever.
Why not? Why not us?
Why not us?
Your step to winning is believing that you can win, and I will say with 100% confidence, this team believes they're going to win the game. At least the ones that matter. I can't speak for the whole team, but the ones that are stepping out there as your leaders think they're going to win the game, or that they can win the game. Does that make sense? I don't know if anyone believes that. They're not idiots, but they believe they could win the game.
That's all you need. Just
That's all you need.
mindset.
It's half the battle. Mental is to physical as 4 is to 1. All right. That's all we have. I have to edit this and post it and not sleep. We sleep in July. Softball won last night as you're watching this. Hopefully they win again today. I hope we're not about to be all about softball coverage soon, but don't worry. We're about to get into that full swing. But right now, this team deserves all the pub. They just done something historic for this group. So shout out to them. Watch them. Celebrate them. Tweet about them. That's all I have. Till next time. Reg 'em.